Welcome to On Air with Kate Butler, where we are revealing life's best kept secrets. Welcome back to On Air with Kate Butler. I am your host, and I want to thank you so much for being here on this episode. We were just talking about that we are happy to be here and having this conversation. It is turning spring here where I am in the Northeast, and the sun is shining today. The weather is turning, the vibe is expanding. I can feel all of the things. So I am really, really excited for this episode. We're going to dive into health and wellness, and I'm not going to give too much away because that is what our amazing guest expert is for today. I am so proud to introduce Dr. Karen Smith. She is the founder of the Living Fearlessly program. With over 2 decades of experience in health and wellness, Dr. Karen Smith is dedicated to helping individuals break through. I just scanned on my computer and I had to find my spot, but I did it. So don't worry, folks. Keeping it real over here. Helping individuals break through emotional and physical barriers to live empowered, authentic lives. What I do love about Dr. Karen Smith is that she is authentic through and through. You'll find that in our conversation today. Through her signature Living Fearlessly program, she leads clients on a journey of healing from deep-rooted fears, past traumas, and recurring patterns that prevent personal growth. We all need to identify what those are for sure. Combining her experience in neuro-emotional technique, EVOX, and holistic health practices, Dr. Smith provides transformative tools to address the underlying causes of emotional and physical challenges. Her mission is to inspire her clients to embrace emotional freedom, overcome obstacles, and create a fearless life of fulfillment and balance. To learn more and to get in touch with Dr. Karen Smith, we're going to invite you to visit her website or also email her. And we're going to drop those links below and also remind you of that at the end of the episode. Welcome to the podcast, Dr. Karen Smith.
Thanks, Kate. It's great to be here.
It is great to have you here. And what the feedback that we get about our podcast is that the audience loves how we keep it real here, right? They like the authentic conversation. They love that our guests are transparent, and it's like they're just sitting having a cup of coffee with us and they feel like they're in the conversation, right? And so as we invite you here today, I'm so excited for them to get a sneak peek into your life because your life is fascinating. I think you have so much to offer, so much wisdom to bring forth. And so I want to start by asking you about this incredible experience that you have. So you wear many hats as a chiropractor, a coach, an emotional healer, a travel advisor, which I didn't even know that part. I'm like learning as I go here, right? How do the different roles connect in your mission to really help others?
So with chiropractic, the foundation of chiropractic is finding the root cause of disease, or finding dis-ease is what we say in the chiropractic world, where if you have a subluxation or you have muscle tightness in the body, we can figure out where that root cause starts, right?
Yeah.
And the foundation of the Live Fearlessly is really truly finding out what that root it corresponds with the emotion that gets buried inside the body, because that can affect a subluxation, it can affect muscle tightness, it can affect fatigue and energy. And so my goal has been to really, if the adjustments start working, to really identify and look into what an emotional component may be using EVOX or using the neuro-emotional technique. The travel advisor, that's something I'll tell you a bit about in a little while, because that's something I'm working on for the next year. So
I love this so much. Okay, so how do emotions tie into the physical health, and why is addressing them so important?
So emotions are directly tied to our organs, and those organs are directly tied to the spine. And so if you have, I'll give you a couple examples of when an emotion is buried inside. Let's say you had a loss of a loved one and that you continually have upper respiratory infections. We look into the lungs to find out, and T1 to T4, which control the lungs, to find out if that emotion of grief is part of the reason why you're not holding your adjustment in the T1 to T4 region.
Okay, Okay, wait. So you can find out. Okay, wait. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay. That just blew my mind a little bit. Okay, so if I am holding on to an emotion or a past trauma or PTSD does it have to be that traumatic, or it can just be like I am just kind of going through a tough time in my life and I'm holding on to a night like some kind of emotion, then I might not be holding my alignment. Is that what that's what you were saying to me?
That's correct. So it doesn't have to be a traumatic event. It doesn't have to be a
Okay.
death of somebody. It doesn't have to be financial stress. It doesn't have to be any of that. It can actually be a perception of something that as a child or as an adult you have perceived. I had a patient who came in when I first became a practitioner of neuro-emotional technique, came in and wasn't holding his low back adjustment. I was seeing him 3 times a week and for about 3 weeks, and he wasn't getting any better, wasn't getting better, wasn't getting better. And so finally he came in. I had just learned the technique like the week before. I sat him down and I said, listen, what's going on emotionally with you? What's happened? And he started crying, like uncontrollably crying. And when he got done crying, I said, can you tell me a little bit of what's happening? And he said, my child's mom won't allow me to see her because I can't afford to pay child support because I lost my job. And low back pain is lack of support, whether it be financial or whether it be emotional. And that simple thing, it's not real simple, I guess, but that component allowed him, once I was able to address that component, use a neuro-emotional technique, and then adjust him. I didn't see him for 2 months. He held the adjustment.
Wow. Oh my goodness. So, okay. So are there different, like, is simply like how you just simply said, like the lower back has to do with support? Are
Mhm.
there other places that you could say this has to do with this or this has to do with this that you would be able to bring us through
Absolutely.
pretty high
So
level or okay.
yep, absolutely. So kidney and bladder are for fear. And so a lot of times, so live fearlessly. What's really interesting in that component is I was going through some paperwork that I had from 15 years ago, 20 years ago. And in that paperwork of doing a seminar with a gal out in Seattle, I'd written down every emotion that I had for 10 events that had happened in my childhood or in my teen years. And that emotion, the emotion that was the primary emotion, 9 out of the 10 times was fear.
Mm,
6 months ago, I was diagnosed with a kidney cyst on my kidney. Now, is it related? I don't know. My gut tells me it probably is because
mm,
my whole life I lived in fear until about 3 years ago, when I had some work done that kind of taught me ways to be able to deal with that fear and be able to step into my authentic self and eliminate that fear away from me. But by then, the damage had already been done. And so hopefully, it's just a cyst. A lot of people get cysts. Is it related to the emotion? I'm not 100% sure, but my gut tells me it probably is.
wow. Wow. This is really powerful information really to know, right? And
Yeah.
begin to do the work on. So you also help people with business leadership and coaching. So what common mindset blocks do you see amongst entrepreneurs? And how do you help them break through that?
So one of the primary things I see with people, especially with small business owners, are not feeling like they're good enough, the imposter syndrome, right? Waiting for that next shoe to drop. The what ifs. What if I don't have enough money to make it to tomorrow? What if I don't have enough knowledge to be able to be successful? And then the third one is, what if I don't have the tools, what it takes to be able to be the success that I want to be? And how I guide them through that is first and foremost finding out where their balance is in their life. Finding the seven different F's of Oola actually is what I use, which is friends, family, finance, field, faith, and fun. Um, and with that, then I also have them do their values and what do they value the most. And when you can kind of put those two things together, you can kind of get a picture of what's kind of blocking them, what's stopping them from moving forward to be the person that they want to be in their business and in their life.
Mm, I love that. And it's so important to find that balance and really dig into each one of those real essential areas of our life, right? To figure out what it is that we want. Okay, so you're launching a luxury travel business, Opulent Odyssey. How does travel play into the role of self-care and personal growth?
So, personal growth and self-care to me is stepping out of your life for a little bit and kind of digging real deep into the spiritual part of who am I? What do I really want? Where do I want to go? And if you're continually just in your everyday life, you don't really have time to do that. You don't have time to step back because either someone's calling you, someone needs you, you're cooking, you're cleaning, or you're doing your job, right? And so with this luxury travel, I want number one for the person to be able to be pampered and feel like they're a queen, because that's what we all are, right? We're all a queen. We haven't realized it yet. The second thing is I want them to be able to step into this luxury retreat, to be able to step aside and say, okay, this is the things that I need to work on. These are the things I need to journal on. These are the things where I need to self-reflect. And then the third thing is you get to form a tribe of other women who think like you, believe like you, and want to have success like you.
Oh, the tribe is so important. Absolutely. I completely agree. And that just sounds so neat. I love that where this is going. Okay, so if someone is struggling with fear or self-worth issues, emotional blocks, what is the first step that you would recommend that they take?
To identify where that starts, to identify when the first time they really felt that emotion, so that we can build upon that. We can kind of erase and eliminate that. And that's one of the things with the neuro-emotional technique is sometimes you can't remember that. Sometimes you don't even know what may have triggered that. And so when we go backwards testing the body by using energy testing, we can say, okay, did it start in utero to birth? Was it birth to five? Was it 5 to 10? And I had a patient actually, first thing she said was, "You're not going to make me cry." And I said, "That's not my intent. My intent is to find out when the original event was." Well, here it was when she was 18 and she had gotten married and the husband was very abusive, but she wanted to forget about that time of her life. And
Mm.
that was creating some of her health issues. And so with that fear, it was great to be able to identify that because then she was able to move forward, start her business, and do the things that she wanted to do.
Wow, that's an incredible client success story. I mean,
Yeah.
and so if she didn't remember it then, how does she remember it through the technique that you offer?
So by testing the body, and so you'll test the body whether the arm is strong or whether the arm is weak. And if the arm goes weak and you're saying, okay, so it's 5 to 10, 10 to 15. And when we hit 15 to 20, when I hit 15, she was strong. When I hit 16, she was strong. When I hit 17, she was strong. But as soon as I hit 18, that arm went weak.
Hmm.
And all of a sudden, I looked at her and I said, can you tell me a traumatic or an emotional event that may have happened or that you perceived happened at that age? And all of a sudden, it was just this emotional release, just started sobbing. It was really powerful. And it
Very
wasn't,
powerful work.
it,
Yeah.
and it wasn't that she didn't remember the event. She didn't want to remember the event. She didn't want to
Right.
remember those emotions around it.
Yeah. Right. That yes. Thank you for clarifying that. And that's exactly it. And so when people, are working with a coach or trying to unpack things and they don't want to go there, right? Whether it's conscious or subconscious, they're not going to address it. They're not going to bring it up, right? And so I
Right.
thank you for walking us through how you do that differently, to really be able to get to the core and the root of it. So I think that's really beautiful. Okay. So, what is one piece of advice that you'd give a woman looking to step into their power and really live this fearless life that you talk about?
The piece of advice that always rung true with me, it was from my sister. It was either you got to sink or swim. And if you're going to do the self work, it doesn't have to be all or nothing, but you have to put yourself there. You have to be willing to do the work. You have to be willing to say, look at the ugly, look at the hard, and realize that it can come out with a beautiful rainbow at the end, beautiful sunshine. When I had the neuroemotional technique done and started my coaching path, I guess, if you will, the next day I woke up and it was like the sun was shining again. I had been worked on for about 3 hours from a friend of mine, and it gave me my purpose in life. It gave me my life back after the death of my sister. And to be able to give that back to others has been so rewarding because people don't even realize that they have that capability inside of them to live the best life they can.
And you help them identify that.
Right.
Yeah, that is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. Okay, so how do we get in touch with you? How does someone reach out to you and get in touch with you if they want to learn more?
Absolutely. So on my website, it's www.drkarenSmithdc.com or drkarensmithdc.com. Or you can email me at healingheartsandbodies@gmail.com.
Amazing. And there they will find different ways to work with you, different ways that you can coach, different experiences that they can go on with you. All of that's available when they reach out. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Absolutely. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. So when we wrap up here on our show, this is called On Air with Kate Butler and also Revealing Life's Best Kept Secrets. So tell us, Dr. Karen Smith, if you would, in Revealing Life's Best Kept Secrets, what is something that you know now that you wish you had known when you started?
Ooh, that's a good question. I wish I had known in my younger years how easy it was to be able to shed the energy that held me back. So I wish I knew that it's easier to be able to get rid of that and look at a brighter future, that there's always tomorrow to, even if you make mistakes, even if you feel like you're not worthy, even if you feel like you're not good enough, there's always tomorrow to do something different. Just because you did one thing one way one day doesn't mean you have to do it the same way the next day. You're constantly growing.
Constantly growing, and you have the choice every single day to step into living fearlessly. Thank you so much for being here today. It's always a pleasure to speak with you. Every single time that we spend time together, you share these beautiful pearls of wisdom, and today was no different. So I truly appreciate your wisdom and your generosity with that wisdom. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be here.
And thank all of you for listening to this conversation. As promised, this is Authentic Conversation, Revealing Life's Best Kept Secrets. And Dr. Karen Smith has shared a lot with us today from both her medical background, but also her coaching background. And now we are even bringing in this element of self-care and personal growth as you continue to work on yourself. Definitely get in touch with Dr. Karen Smith and all of the amazing offerings that she has. Thank you so much for being here with us on this episode, and we will see you next time. Bye, everyone. Take care. Thank you so much for listening today. I would love to connect with you on social, and you can find me on Instagram and Facebook under Kate Butler Books. If you're interested in accessing some life-changing tools and techniques, you can grab those right off of the homepage of my website for free, and that is katebutlerbooks.com. And you can always check back here to download new episodes from our podcast right here where you listen today. Until next time, thank you for making this world a better place just by being you.